Hey yo, Pearlo dance. It's hockey time. Hockey, hockey, hockey. Lauren is in the house. Oilers, man. I imagine you're here to talk about how the Detroit game that's coming up there, Oilers, man. That should be fun. If the Oilers don't win that one, I don't know what to do. They got to be crushing that. That's a stat patter there. How was your weekend? I didn't do well. I didn't do well. Sunday was good. Saturday was a bloodbath. Hey, how you doing, Kyle? Sunday was a bloodbath. Sunday was not good. But you will cry if the Oilers lose. Yeah, I imagine. I imagine. That would just be poor defense right there. That's the only way they're going to lose that game because offensively they should absolutely crush them, whether Larkin is in or not. They should be all over that. But then St. Louis should have been all over Anaheim last night too, and that didn't happen. Miles Wood out indefinitely. Oh, Ottawa's getting crushed with COVID protocol. They got Brown out, Gambrell out. What was the other ones they had out there? Gambrell, Holden, and their assistant, Jack Capuano. Wow, that's brutal. Yeah, I'm not happy for them. That was a big pick. Seattle just got so nervous there. Uh, they, at the end, they were just nervous to be the first ones to lose to Arizona, and they acted like it. It was terrible. That was so brutal. They get up 2-0 right off. All they had to do was play a strong defensive game, and they could have easily taken them. But they just bobbled the puck all over the place. That play in behind the net for the for the last goal for Arizona, it was just like I don't know what to do. Yeah, Jeremy Colleton got fired. We should have saw that coming, right? We should have saw that coming. Young coach with all that going on there probably was not the guy to have in there at that moment. I think he'll land on his feet. He'll get a job somewhere down the road, but should have saw that coming. So they bring in King, a veteran of a very long time, and of course, what's his name is also there. Didn't name him coach. I don't think he wants to be coach. What's this? He sounds like Kermit the Frog. The heck is his name? Yeah, 36 years old. With all the stuff that's been going on there, they needed a veteran to calm things down. I mean, it's just asking a lot for a young guy like that to. You're 5 years older than him, yeah. Oh, I'm way older than that. Jeez, Lauren. I'm, what's he, 36? 13 years older than him. Yeah, well, I don't think they really have to. I think Turney is doing a good job in Arizona. He has them playing about as good as they can play right now. So, but yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like we give Tippett a lot of flack, but if you notice now, that team is playing as a unit pretty darn good. He gave guys a chance like Barry and stuff like that, and when they drop the ball, he puts them in the 5-6 spot. He looks a lot better there. Well, it's going to be a tough game tonight. The Panthers are going to have a tough one against the Rangers tonight. I don't know. Have you heard if Barkov's supposed to be back yet or not? I haven't heard. And then we got to talk to Carolina. First time Carolina's really played a bad game. They played a bad game. That was just bad all the way around. So you were at the game, Sean? Jeez. Yeah, they looked nervous to lose that game. They looked like they were playing not to lose, for sure. Yeah, I think the Leafs probably they got their mojo going. Marner looks like they look offensively very solid right now, and Campbell's looking fantastic. So LA is going to have a tough one tonight if they're going to win that for sure. Quick is in net tonight, so and I was my biggest surprise. One of my biggest surprise so far this year is that not Peterson. They're yeah, Peterson, their goaltender for LA, is doing so poorly. He's not playing well. I'm actually really surprised by that. Cal Peterson, yeah. He's not playing well so far. Two goals in 1 minute, yeah. All they had to do was rag the puck. All she had to do was rag the puck, and they probably have a pretty good chance of winning that in overtime. Yeah, Ranta, I don't know what he was doing there. I'm telling you, man, Ranta finds ways to hurt himself. He always seems to find ways to hurt himself. One way or another, Ranta gets hurt. It's always been that way with him. Quick trade soon? I don't think so. He's their number one right now. It wouldn't be soon. If they keep on losing, maybe somebody might pick him up at the deadline for some insurance. Hard to say. I think LA thinks they're right on the brink of being a play. Go Caps! Woo! Thanks for coming in, buddy. Big Washington Capitals game tonight. Kings are too loyal, probably. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, you could say that, I guess. It's also a good idea to take care of your veterans. It's good for contract talks with your younger players. If you don't take care of your veterans, then when you come to contract talks, players are like, well, I don't know if I want to stick around here. The way you look at the way you treated Quickie there, and yeah, everything has a reason. Peter Mrazek out. Yeah, we were talking about injuries to goaltenders, and all the goaltenders. Anderson is held up, but Mrazek is not. Yeah, and that wasn't Anderson's fault either, really. I don't know what happened to Carolina there. They look shell shocked to begin with, and that's not something you normally see with Carolina. Oh, cool! That was their first game. Right on. Too bad it had to happen like that. Yeah, they just looked really nervous at the end, and then they didn't want to be the first team to lose to Arizona. It seemed that shouldn't be in the back of your mind either, or the front of your mind. Yeah, he's having a better season so far, but no doubt about that. But I mean, LA is not going to be able to, win a cup, or is not. Well, of course, they're not looking like cup contenders yet this year, but they're going to need a better goaltender. They need Peterson to play better, no doubt about it. That's really all it for LA. It's a little worrisome that he's struggled out of the gates there in LA. Oh, you found a way to play. Good. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, Mike. I'm not sure about Buffalo and Washington. Let's see. What's the goaltender? Have they finally come out and said? If Tokarski's in net, I just can't see Buffalo winning that, and they're still not saying whether he's going to be in or not. That's really bugging. That really bugs me that they do that. we could have a quick buyout. Maybe I don't think they'll do that. Somebody will probably give him a shot out there. Uh, just to have some backup. I'm just trying to think who would like. Let's say Ranta keeps on getting hurt. Maybe Carolina gives Quick a shot. He hasn't been playing that badly. He'd be a good backup for a team that needs, in case injury or whatever the case may be. Yeah, they're still a big, hard, solid team. Buffalo wins by using their physicality, and Washington's still big, solid, and they're at home. They're like money at home. Washington's money at home. And yeah, there's no need to buy him out. That's right. Yeah. Velmelka has been playing decent. Turney has built a good system there for around Velmelka. They don't really give him too much, but he has it's a great thing about a goaltender in that situation is there's no pressure on you. If you lose, you were expected to lose, and it's gotten to that point with Arizona now that. But now the first person to lose to them, monkey is off the back. So I think I think Arizona's going to struggle, going to even have more difficult time down the road here. They got Minnesota next, I believe, and I just can't see them beating Minnesota after what they did to the Islanders Saturday night. That ticked me off. I misread I did something wrong with the schedule there with the Islanders. They had played 3 games in 4 nights. I know Minnesota was on a back-to-back, but they got younger legs. I don't like it when I make mistakes like that. Well, who's he? Yeah, I imagine he should be traded, but what's he gonna do? Who's gonna take him really? At this point, he's pretty much bordering on waiver wire. He'll get a couple hits for you in a game, but besides that, he doesn't know what he's doing in the defensive zone. You can't put up offense, so it's not a good situation there with him in Toronto. That's for sure. He had his chance. He had his chance. Boston, he had a pretty good run in Boston, and now he's just right back to the way he was before. Yeah, Grubauer. I'm not a Grubauer guy. I have to admit, he can go off every once in a while. He can get on a bit of a run, but as a whole, he's not consistent enough for me. Yeah, I know. He had 15 goals last year. If he goes hard to the net and stuff, he does that kind of stuff. He can pot a few, but he doesn't do it often enough. He doesn't do it consistently enough. He has to play with a certain type of line to be able to do it. Playing with guys like Matthews and Marner and stuff like that, he's way over his head. He doesn't know what to do in those situations. He doesn't know where players are going to be. He's got to play in a line where basically he gets the puck and he throws it to the front of the net. That's it. Hopefully somebody will be there, but he won't know if the guy's going to be there or not. I could, I suppose, just another big body in Washington. They have a big team, so they do have a very big team. Uh, I think Washington will win tonight though. As long as Tokarski is in net, then if he's not in net, I'm not sure. And he's slow. Yes, he is slow. He like Marner and Matthews will be up ready to pass, ready to get the puck, and he won't even be there yet. And that's what was happening. They would get in the zone waiting for him to get the puck, and he's like, oh, not even there yet. So it wasn't working well at all. They have to slow down for him, which slows down their line. And that line is like built on speed. Marner doesn't know how to slow down. Bunting is a better option. He can skate a little better. So who's better prospect, Wright or Bedard? Without a doubt, Bedard. Bedard, without a doubt, is the better prop. Bedard is insane. What's Bedard doing now? I know his numbers were not spectacular last time I looked. Yeah, he's not really lighting it up. Wait, let me see here. World Junior Championships. Okay, 2000. Yeah, he's got 10 points in 13 games. What's that all about? And nobody is lighting it up. Shane Wright isn't really lighting it up all that well either. No, I think that I thought that all along that Seattle would probably go, Donskoy, guys like that. They can get some picks for. They'll probably keep Eberle, unless they don't want to be. He doesn't want to be there. They're just they're not there yet. They don't have the offense. Their defense is a little slow. They're gonna win the odd game. They work pretty hard. Guys like Tanev keep them honest, which is good. Yes, there is a Russian, Mitska or something like that. Yeah, he's supposed to be absolutely insane too. They should not have named. Well, the idea was that they picked Giordano. Obviously, he's going to stay there for the long haul. I think Giordano stayed there because it's probably going to extend his career. He'll be able to play for a couple more years. I like the favorites tonight mostly. Florida, I'm kind of off that game. It's the first game back off a road trip, but I want to know if Barkov is going to be in or not. And so far, I haven't heard anything about it. That makes it tough. If Barkov is in, I don't think the Rangers can do enough to stop them. But Shesterkin could go off. Spencer Knight has been playing really well. You think Gord will get traded? Maybe. It's going to be interesting. I think that would be the best thing to do is to trade guys like Gord. He's got a cup. I mean, you get a first for Gord. They would get a first-round pick for Gord. Gord's got a cup, 2 cups, 3 cups? No, yeah, isn't he got 3 cups? 2 cups. He's got 2 cups. Yeah, he's playing well. Done if you can find a spot for him. He's got I don't know. He noise coaches a lot. Yeah, they could. Yeah, that's the thing. They still got. Last I saw, Florida now. Let's see if that's changed. Had Luosterainen playing on the top line. Yeah, that too. Luosterainen playing on the top line with Verhaeghe and Duclair, and then Huberdeau with Lundell and Tippett. Vetrano, Reinhardt, It's a little thinner than they like. Oh, and now, of course, Hornquist still playing on the fourth line. They did get Gudas back, and they look a lot better with Gudas in there in the back end. Tomorrow will be interesting because they're probably going to have to roll with Gibson. So I think they're going to be playing hard here. I think you'll get a first for Gord. I think they could get a first for Gord. Donskoy, no. You might get a second. Eberle could probably maybe pot you a first if you can find a team with some cap space. So that would be two. I mean, and then then you're looking. Do you want to keep Larson? Do you want to keep Susie, Larson, guys like that? I think Oleksiak, they wouldn't have signed him to trade him. I doubt it very much. Alexiak's a guy they have long term there. So I think more than likely, knowing Francis, he'll go halfway, like always. He always does that. He'll trade Donskoy for a second and like maybe Susie and then leave the team together. Probably something like that. That just seems like something he would do. Drigger's got to come back and show that he's okay before anybody's going to touch him. It's a pretty big red flag to be injured as long as he has right now. So I would say that if he can come back and play a bit and show that he's good enough, Drigger would be a good idea, yeah. Grubauer, I think they keep. You don't sign a guy long-term like that to trade him, I don't think. It's just not, it doesn't look good to the rest of any free agent that wants to come in. Unless there was some sort of understanding beforehand that we'll give you this money, but we might have to trade you at the deadline. I just don't see it because somebody else would have probably ponied up the same amount of money for him too. Panthers beat Carolina. Yeah, Carolina played one of the worst games I've seen them play for a long time. Everybody has to have a boner game, and they had a boner game. Coughing up the puck all over the place. It was not pretty there, that's for sure. Richie used to play for Vancouver. Yeah, they still got guys like that. Did I miss anything here? Dunn will be traded. I suppose, but you got to find. I don't know who wants Dunn. I mean, right now at this point, Dunn isn't going to get you much because I mean, there's too many red flags. He ticked off the coach last year in St. Louis. He gets let go in the expansion draft. And then the expansion team is wanting to trade him too. Like, you got to wonder what's going on there behind the scenes with Dunn. Carolina sucked. But, you got to say, Carolina did come back and make it interesting a little bit. I like the way Brindamore, they talked to Brindamore in the second period, I believe it was, and he just said, oh, we've been bad. We just have been bad. And now, in the third period, we're going to try to redeem this a little bit and then move on, throw this one in the trash, and get back to business. And I'm sure they will. I doubt very much you're going to see a game like that out of them again. It's not a done deal, yeah. It would be a tough trade. I mean, a team may take them for some depth, maybe to give it a shot, but it smells like a locker room issue there with Dunn to me. And teams that are looking for players at the deadline really don't want to bring on a locker room issue at that time. You're trying to keep your morale up, character going and stuff, and you got a guy who's been basically thrown aside by two organizations. Yeah, that's right. I agree. Yeah. this draft coming up, the more I look at it, it isn't as deep as the one after that. I'd be trying to acquire as many picks as I could for the year after this year's draft than for this one. But more than likely, teams are going to want to give up players. They're going to want to. Nobody's going to want to give up those picks for the year after this. We haven't even talked about the Eichel trade yet. Or did we? Frederick, yeah, he was kind of bad, but I mean, really, the team was just bad. I was watching it going, this is Carolina playing? What the heck is going on here? Maybe they got 2 up for the game. I don't know. Brendan Moore will probably try to figure that out because you don't want to see that happening again. Oh, okay, yeah. We did talk about the Eichel trade a bit. I'll go over it quick for anybody who didn't hear it. Well, everybody knows what the trade was. Yeah, we did talk about it because I said that I think Buffalo's morale is going to go down because they didn't get anybody to play for now. I totally get the trade. I love Tuck. He's a great guy to have on any lineup. A guy with that kind of speed and size is huge. Buffalo needs it, and the type of game that, and also he's from the area too. Yeah, everybody should know what the trade was. He's from the area too. I just want to look up where he's from here. Alex Tuck. And he's on a good contract, 4.7 for quite a few years. It was a nice pickup considering what they had for options. I mean, he's from Syracuse, yeah. So he's not far away. So it's not like it might be hard to think, okay, I'm leaving LA, or leaving Vegas, but at least he's closer to his family. You know, he should be fairly happy there. He's going to get a great opportunity. In Vegas, quite often he was buried down the lineup when I really don't think he should have been. So it's a good opportunity for him, for sure. Ben Bishop back soon, really? Well, that'll be interesting if that happens. Hudobin played. Apparently, I slept, but I went to sleep. But apparently, Hudobin didn't do very well last night. Vancouver had probably their best game of the season by the looks of it. If they decide to trade him, maybe. If Ben Bishop's healthy, they'll probably maybe Hudobin to Toronto. No, unused cap space doesn't get rolled over. You have your cap space is your cap space all through the season. So even in the off season, your cap space is still your cap space. Yeah. See, Dallas is trying to find its balance between being a defensive team and an offensive team. The first part of the season, they were way too defensive. And then who did they beat? They beat somebody just a little while ago. But they were playing much more of a pressure game and taking a little bit of risks. And it seems like in Vancouver, that came back to bite them. So they got to find the balance there in Dallas. Plus, and not to mention Hudobin is showing that he just doesn't have it, I think. He's losing out. And Holtby, too. I don't know. They got a lot of goaltenders and not too many good ones. I wonder what Ottinger is doing down in the minors because they need some help right now. Let's look up Dallas. I didn't even know why they put him down in the minors. Ottinger. Oh, he's not putting up great numbers. He's had 9 games. Now, he could have a bad team there in front of him. I'd have to check, but he's not lighting it up numbers-wise anyways. So maybe they knew something. Seems like it's going to be a disappointing year. They're fairly old. They've looked old up until now on many nights. It looks like they've it's all caught up to them, which would really suck. And I don't know what's been going on with Ropo Hintz, but he is not what they expected, that's for sure. I just shared the live out. Sorry if I missed anything. Today, I'm proud to announce the Panthers have no fans. Craig Anderson, is he out still? That's the thing. He was questionable too. They're keeping all of this silent, and I don't like it. It drives you crazy. Just waiting to see who's in net. I think if Tokarski has not looked good, so I think if they play Tokarski, they've got a really good. Washington's got a really good chance of winning that. Who's Leafs backup goalie? It's Hutchinson, isn't it? It's got to be Hutchinson. It's amazing that guy always finds a spot in the NHL. No, Joseph Woll is there. Where's Hutchinson? They're keeping him in the minors now? Wow. Joseph Woll. He's a young player they've been grooming for a long time. He had terrible numbers in the minors. Wow. Absolutely horrible numbers in the minors. Is their team brutal down there or what? What do they got? Hutchinson and Calgren. What's Hutchinson doing down there? He's only played one game, and he's only played one game down in the minors. Allowed 3 goals. That's weird that they got Woll. Woll, he was I want to say a 2nd round pick. I could be wrong about that though, so let me check it out. Anyway, they got him on an emergency loan. 3rd round pick, 2016. Never put up good numbers in the minors, like ever. He played 32 games one year, had a 3.75 and a .880. So you gotta hope they don't have to use him. Woll playing on Saturday? Oh gosh. That would not be pretty, dude. It doesn't look like it'll be pretty. Who are they playing on Saturday? Washington better win it if Washington should win it if Tokarski's in that. I would say for sure. But it's been a voodoo. Like last night was voodoo. Road teams usually win on Sundays a lot, and it was all the home teams last night winning. They're playing Buffalo. Okay, wow. I'll probably stay away from that game, especially if Tokarski's in that. It'd be over all day on that. I don't know why they're bringing Wool up. Why not Hutchinson? Hutchinson's a better option than Wool right now. I suppose they want to have him work with a different goalie coach or something like that. All right, well, let me go into the games from the weekend. Yeah, the Lightning versus the Senators. That was about one of the few that Murray, man, I don't know. Like, how long are they going to wait around on Murray? They put Gustafsson down in the minors, so they got Forsberg and Murray right now. That smells like tank to me. Gustafsson is their best goaltender right now. Murray, maybe because Murray feels threatened by Gustafsson and they want to make him feel like he's the number one so they can build his confidence up. I don't know, but by the way, make sure you pound on that like button. Let's get the people up in the house. Oh, he can't be called up because of the cap. I gotcha. Okay. Wow, that's too bad. Because Wool is not ready for prime time by the looks of those numbers in the AHL. That's really too bad. And Ottawa looks like they're in tank mode. If they're putting Gustafsson in, it looks like they've decided that they're not going to be good enough this year. So they're going to give Gustafsson some minutes down there, and they're going to cross their fingers and hope to heck they can get Murray to be a number one goaltender because they're paying him a crap load of money. Holy man. That was a big risk when they took him from Pittsburgh. And I understand why they bid on it, though, because he's got all the tools. He showed he could be it. You had to figure that. I think there might be some stuff upstairs. It's got to be mental. Some mental stuff up there that maybe he needs to take some time off and go see a sports psychologist to get himself back in it again, because he just looks like he doesn't look like he's getting better. No matter what he does, he doesn't look like he's getting better. If anything, it looks like he's getting worse. And then when he does look like it, he's all of a sudden has some mysterious injury of some kind. Very weird. Very weird. It's almost like he's afraid to play. I think it's almost like something's in it. He's got something in his head. He's afraid to play. Ottawa's in big trouble without a goaltender now this year. So another big pick for Ottawa this year by the looks of it. I can't see them coming around this year. And I know, a lot of us thought that they would surprise maybe and stuff like that, but the defense is just not there. Goaltending's not there. Losing Pinto is big. They don't have a second line center. It's going to be a rough go for Ottawa the rest of the year by the looks of it. We talked about the Panthers game. Yeah, Barkov wasn't playing in that game either, were they? Was he? So, and then with the Islanders and Jets, the Islanders played a perfect game against the Jets. That was pretty slick. I was thinking they were going to do that against Minnesota again, but they ran out of gas. they did play well against Minnesota, but they ran out of gas. But against Winnipeg, they were the Islanders. You always expect them to be. They gave them nothing. And I wouldn't even say Winnipeg played all that poorly, but the Islanders just picked them apart. They couldn't get anything going. And Comrie even played well. It wasn't even really the goaltending that was an issue. But they ran out of gas. Won that pretty impressive road, considering they've been on the road. They're over 500. I really wish I would have paid more attention to the fact that it was 3 games in 4 nights for them, though, when they played Minnesota. The Red Wings, they wouldn't have won that game if it wasn't for Tokarski. It was pretty back and forth. But Tokarski left some softies in that game. Pretty close game, but Tokarski was the difference, no doubt about that. Detroit's got to look at the Zadina and wonder what's going on. He still hasn't put it together there. He's getting passed on the and Rasmussen too. My gosh, for a guy as big as Rasmussen is, he gets pushed around way too much. He's a huge guy, but he's always flopping on the ice. Do you guys notice that? Did you watch any of that Detroit game? He was flopping on the ice all game. Bertuzzi had 2 goals, 2 assists that night. They're shaping up, but they need help up the middle. Pius Suter has looked better. I was like not a Pius Suter guy, but he did step up. Had 7 shots on goal. Of course, Larkin wasn't playing that game, but he did step up. It's getting there with Detroit. They still got a little bit of ways to go. Hronek got played. That was his first game back. They sat him for a while. And against who were they playing against on Sunday? Hronek looked exceptionally good. Because that was they were both on a back-to-back on Sunday. It was the Golden Knights, that's right. He looked really good. Brossoit looked absolutely terrible that night. He's not a bad goaltender, but it was not his night on that night. My gosh, there was a couple ones that went in there. It just should never go in, no doubt about it. So what was your favorite game on the weekend? I know you Carolina, Florida. What was your favorite game on the weekend? What did you want to talk about that? Tell me. Speak to me, guys. The Buffalo that when they made that trade. Not really any game. The Buffalo Seattle game was interesting because I was saying that when they made that trade and they didn't get anybody back in return to play, help them out, I thought they would probably lose. I think they'll lose a lot now. That takes a lot of steam out of a team that's trying as hard as Buffalo is to be good. Like in the room, they're not thinking, "Oh, we're not good enough." And you got a coach that's trying to build confidence in your team. And then management goes out and doesn't get anybody, not anybody, to fill in the roster anywhere. Yeah, I don't know much about him. He's been an assistant his whole career. I really don't know much about him. I know that from when I was watching the Chicago game, they said that he's got a totally different philosophy than Kuleton. They're going to be playing a very defensive game from here on in, or at least he's going to expect them to play a very defensive game. Whether or not they're going to actually do it, I don't know. We'll see. But Tokarski is expected to play so far. Washington should win that if Tokarski's in. He's just not a very good goaltender. And I love him as a person. I'm glad he got an opportunity to make a NHL salary the last 2 or 3 years. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, but he's not NHL caliber. He's gotten better. He used to be really small in the net, and you just peg the corners all. He's learned how to make himself look a lot bigger now, but and his side to side is good. He's got some decent reflexes, but he leaves out juicy rebounds too often, and he has a tendency to sit too far in his net like Reimer used to. In San Jose, they got Reimer playing much more aggressive than he did in Carolina. I don't know what the heck happened there, but they found a way to get Reimer to play a lot more aggressive in the net, and he's playing really good. The Flames was your favorite? That was the Flames. Which Flames game was that? Because there was 2, wasn't it? The Flames versus the Stars on Saturday night, or the Stars won. That was a surprise. The Stars, okay, that was the game I was talking about. The Stars played super aggressive against the Flames. And I think it took them by surprise because that was the first time they really played aggressive. And it took them by surprise a little bit. They were beating the Flames to the pucks and stuff like that. But the Flames managed to pull out a point in what was a pretty tough game that I watched. But it looked like they weren't going to win all the way through the game. You pretty much had a feeling that they weren't going to win all the way through the game. Oh, yeah. Armstrong did a fantastic job picking up picks. He picked that up with a Larson deal with Vancouver. Didn't he take on some salary to get a pick? He's did fantastic, and he's not done. You still got Phil Kessel, who was hoping to get traded before the season started. They still got some guys that they're going to pick up picks for sure. The only veteranish guys they're going to probably keep are Keller and Chychrun. I imagine if they can find a draft pick for everybody else, they will, and they'll just fill out spots with free agency and then do it all over again until they got a team, which is a way to do it. That's what I think Seattle should do too. What is the word of, what's the word on, yeah, the word is that they are not entertaining a new coach until the season's over, which leads me to believe that they have somebody in mind, probably an assistant on another team. So they're saying that they want to check out all their options, which makes sense. There's no sense of urgency. Possibly this King guy holds on. I don't know. Leafs call up 2 players. Rangers assistant coach? Who would that be? The Leafs call up 2 players, you say? Oh, I'm surprised Kyle Kobienko and Marian Studnich cleared waivers. Carey Price returns to the Montreal Canadiens. Price is now back with the team. There is no timeline for him to return to action, but he is with the team now. Wow. There's a story right there. Carey Price has returned to the Montreal Canadiens now. And they got a game coming up. Who's back to back? I think LA. So that could be a lift in their spirits, knowing that Price is back and ready to go soon, I would say. Maybe they could take LA. Those kind of energy, good feeling things and stuff like that have a tendency to translate on the ice. And since LA is going to be on a back-to-back against Toronto tonight, and then a big game tomorrow, that would definitely go a long way to give Price a little present for his coming back. I could see it happening. Oh, Brett Seeney's called up. Okay. Finally, I'll go the Blues and Sharks game. Aiden Hill has not looked good in San Jose. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought he looked really good. I thought he would be a lot better than he is. San Jose probably would have won that game if Aiden Hill wasn't in net. They got a good energy going, but still goaltending issues in San Jose besides Reimer. And can he hold up like that? I'm not sure. But I thought Aiden Hill could be a little better than that, but he still hasn't figured it out. What about the Rangers, Hengen? Oh, you like the Rangers tonight? That's going to be a barn burning. I don't know. I don't have much faith in the Rangers still. They just haven't been able to get it together there. Lafreniere is not looking as good as I thought he would. You're starting to wonder if maybe they played him a little too young. Kako has no points so far this season. Their veterans have been playing okay, but their defense has been playing poor. They've been getting most of their wins. Like, their record doesn't really show what they've done. Shesterkin has been their everything. Shesterkin has been everything for the Rangers. And can he keep that up? Like, you put Georgiev in net, they lose. Pretty much. Yeah, Krause is one of those guys that he shouldn't be playing that high in a lineup, but he's turned himself into a pretty good third line winger. He's big, he's solid, he hits He's going to play up and down the wing, and he can do a lot of good things for you for sure. He's always going to be a gamer. Plays hard every game. If you wore, yeah, that cheesy little mustache of his, boy. Yeah, he doesn't suck, but he's definitely not a top 6 forward on too many teams. I would say no teams. I don't think there's any team in the NHL where he's a top 6 forward. But let's face it, Seattle didn't play well that night. They played like a team that was nervous. They played like a team that was afraid to lose more than they wanted to win, and that usually doesn't end up well. They look like they started out like, oh, we got this. Then Arizona started coming back, and they kind of completely forgot what game they were playing. Like, if they would have just kept on playing the high pressure way they were playing in the first, 5 minutes, they should have easily won that game. But they started getting back on their heels and not making crisp passes and just looking super nervous. Shesterkin is the only reason they have wins. I agree. Totally. Yeah, Alex Lyons being called up. Ranta is out again. That's going to be a couple losses for Carolina. Who knows? With their defense, they could even make Alex Lyon look good. Their defense is when it's playing like the way it's supposed to, they make goaltenders look good. Look what Nedeljkovic is doing in Detroit right now. He's not doing that great. That's why they didn't give him the contract, because he's an average goaltender. And they make Carolina will make an average goaltender look really good. And as long as Anderson's healthy, he's an above average goaltender. They'll make him look like an exceptional goaltender most games. Most games. That Florida game aside, that Florida game they just wasn't Carolina. It just wasn't that. That wasn't the team that we all know and love there in Carolina that game. I don't know what it was, but I know Florida came out strong and kind of got them. I think the idea was they were going to trap them a little bit to start off with, and it didn't work. And then they couldn't get back on track again. That's when a guy like Hamilton is nice. He's a guy that can start moving. He can start rushing with the puck a little bit and get the possession going on the other side. It doesn't have to fall on Slavin. In that game, I felt like Slavin was almost relied on too much. Let's see what Beniers is doing. He's on a killer team right now. Last I heard, he was doing about a point a game. If I remember correctly. Marty Beniers. 9 points in 6 goals and 3 assists. That's pretty good. He's on a pretty deep team, so he's probably not getting like top minutes there. Hey CL, how you doing, buddy? So, I mean, if he keeps progressing like that, he's got the type of game that they could play him sooner, but they don't have to. So, they're not going to rush. Francis is never going to rush a guy into the league. He's going to have to really blow them out of the water to play. He'll probably at least start in the AHL. They remind you of the Sedin level Canucks. I could see your point there. We just talked about Lawson Krause. They could use a guy that is a little beastie a little more beastie in that lineup for sure. I could say but they can add that, and I'm sure I'm sure they're working on something like that. A big solid guy on the wings would definitely help in Carolina for sure. I know what you're saying. They got a lot of guys that are slick, good two-way guys, but they could really use a guy that can bring the pain. Maybe even more than one guy. Sedin's never had Brindamore as a coach. Who was coaching back then? I want to say, wasn't it AV? Wasn't it AV that was coaching back then? Or was it Quinn? Was it Quinn? Quinn was a pretty darn good coach. Uh, yeah, I mean, Brindamore's going to bring him a long ways, but I still think that they would do well to have a true power forward up on there. But I mean, that's easier said than done. Even if it's not like a scoring power forward. Yeah, CL Lion. He knows all about Lion. They're in Philadelphia. You can't hear me? Really? Oh, don't tell me my mic went out on me. AV was there at that time? Can you hear me now? Ah, shoot. There, how's that? Is that better now? Just wait 1 second. I'm going to try something. How's that? Is it working now? Okay. Um, so yeah, anyways, where were we? Yeah, look at Carolina's roster.